I have a favorite season. I know you're probably thinking winter. Since I'm a Michigan native and up north, I have a favorite season. I know you're probably thinking winter since I am from the great white north of Michigan, but no. Maybe you think it's summer with all the nice weather and conventions and fun. No, it's not summer either. It's football season and it's back, baby.
I can't see this with my stupid new contacts. I'm so sorry. Shit. I got new contacts.
Just wait. We're thrilled to be football season's back. Back for
Hang
this.
On. We're thrilled football is back, and we'll tell you all about it. And nope, I can't see any of this. So sorry. I can't see. I'm just taking out my contacts.
You need to take them out? Hold on. Let's go to chat. Ladies and gentlemen.
I did this at Dragon Hunt,
so
I can't see a thing.
delicious sausage for you tonight. You get to see how it's all made.
This is twice now. I can't see anything.
Oh my gosh, Dawn. One of Dawn's friends' boys fell out a window. It sounds like,
goodness.
Are you sure you're not from Sheboygan? Because that sounds pretty familiar to me.
All right, now
you ready?
I can see. Yeah.
Let's go to Maine. Okay, here we go. Ready?
Yep.
Are you sure you can see?
I will try it. We are thrilled. God damn it, I can't see anything. Hang tight.
Did you?
Something is wrong with my contact lenses. All right, now I can see. We are thrilled football is back, and we'll tell you all about how the league influences our autumn weekends right after this quick break.
There we go. All right, so you're going to have to wing it, obviously. Since you
I'm going to go grab my glasses.
Oh, go grab your glasses. That's fine.
You chat.
I will chat. I am the one who vamps. I am the one who vamps. Sean says, stick with the glasses, They look great. I agree. I think our new glasses are smoking. They look fantastic. All right, who we got? Brian K. Trotter says, can't make the stream, but how about them Raiders? Yeah, Raiders, shit, who'd they play? Fuck, I'm not up to date. I've been writing a lot, you guys. But it's great. All you bitches who got a week 1 win, congratulations.
You guys, I'm so sorry. That's the second time I've tried my contact lenses. I can't see anything.
It is getting sweltering in here, dude.
Oh, my brother, who is in the chat room on Facebook, Jude, says, are the contacts in the wrong eyes? It happened to Nana, which did happen to Nana quite often. But no, I think they're progressives and my brain has to map them, but I haven't worn them.
All right, we're running behind. Here we go. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Let's get into it. So we're coming back and... Welcome to Deep Cuts, the bonus episode of the Scott Sigler Slices Fiction Podcast. We're a sci-fi author and an audiobook narrator to discuss things and stuff in the world of fiction and pop culture and today in sports. I am Scott Sigler, sci-fi horror author known far and wide as the future Dark Overlord.
And I am A.B. Sigler, audiobook narrator and publisher at Empty Set Entertainment. And tonight, we're talking about NFL football and the new season.
A reminder, this is a bonus episode in the Scott Sigler Slices podcast, not part of any story. You don't have to listen to this episode to keep up on any of the tale we are telling, but we think you'll like this peek behind the storyteller curtain. Even though this is football, and we do have a football-related series called the Galactic Football League, which you can find on any podcatcher, and it's got hundreds of episodes, and it's great.
All righty, let's get into it, baby.
Let's go.
I am so excited for this season. If you guys don't know, I want to start by saying I did not follow sports much at all until I met Scott and we started working together in earnest in 2009. That said, my dad and my brother, my stepdad and my brother, were very into sports, very into basketball, very into football. My brother was a swimmer in high school. They were very invested in sports. So I was very invested in the food on football Sundays. But until 2009, I didn't really follow sports. And then Scott and I met and decided to work together. And we started working on The Rookie. And Scott said, cool, going into the 2009 season, you have to pick a football team. And I was like, oh, I got you. The Krakens.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, absolutely not. An actual real football team. And so I did. I picked the New York Jets. I'm no longer a New York Jets fan because they hired an anti-vaxxer, and I'm not about that. But I did that, and it did a thing for me I didn't know it was going to do. It created an investment in football and sports and people's strength, people's tenacity, people's practice, people's training that I never had before. I never saw that before. I didn't get to play sports in high school. I have bad kidneys, so I wasn't allowed to even play gym.
You didn't look down on athletes or football players, but
No.
you didn't look down on them. But after getting into football, gathering it gave you a greater appreciation for what goes into making an NFL player or coach or staff or trainer.
Exactly. It's exactly that. It gave me an opening into how hard people work to excel, to be excellent at their task, which I know in everything I try to do, I try to be good at it. So I loved that. Here we are, 15 years later, and there's a new wrinkle because this year in 2025, we joined a small fantasy football league. That is, what is this?
We are in 2 leagues now, 2 leagues together. One is the Girthy Gridiron League, commissioned by Chris Grawl, author of, gosh darn it, when we drawing a blank? Trigger Guard, author of Trigger Guard, a writer's resource to firearms. And that is I believe it's called a Pick'em League. So each week we get to pick whatever players we want. We can all the same player.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing.
We've been doing that for a couple of years. It's very simple. We like it. It's a lot of shit talking. But the new one.
What I want to say, the reason I joined that one is because I have good friends who I know love me, and I know they know I don't know a lot about football. And that was a way for me to learn a lot about players and why injuries matter and why, team ups on a particular team, players who work well together, that kind of thing, why that mattered. And it really helped me understand the game a whole lot more and enjoy it a whole lot more.
The league we are in now is a draft league. So this is mostly a set of A&I's friends, and we did an auto draft because we simply don't have time. So don't invite me to be in your fantasy football league. Don't invite A. We're not going to do it. We don't have time. But the draft league is different because we have the same players from week to week. If they get injured, they're out. You have to find a sub. You have to get somebody from your bench. You can trade. You can do all kinds of fun stuff. So now A is about to experience the joy that Rob and Dan and our buddies had for 20 years in the Michigan Fantasy Football League. And the word joy is a lie. It's fucking fantasy football is grueling. Anyways, but now A's going to, on a different level with the same players, now she has to look at a couple of different things. She has to watch out, is there a bye? She has to know the schedule. Because if there's a bye and she doesn't change her quarterback, who was a bye in week 5, she has no quarterback playing that week. So she now has to pay attention to that. She has to pay attention to injuries. Because on the simple league where we pick players every time, if somebody's injured, it's a big sign and they'll let you know. But in the draft league, from week to week, if you're not paying attention, you can also start someone who's injured and benched. And you have to pay attention to the people you didn't start. How are they doing if you want them to start the next week? Because they are kicking ass. So it's going to teach a whole different set of skills and awareness about the game, which further entrenches your knowledge of football, which therefore will eventually increase your enjoyment.
And so he said the thing, will therefore eventually increase your enjoyment. And I want to share this. If you guys are people who are football fans because you're a Scott Sigler fan, but you don't really like football, or you're a Swiftie and you're trying to get into whatever it is, if you're sort of tangential to football, my mom is in the chat room right now. She's absolutely tangential to football. I will say this, joining this league and have it this, it's not a pick-me league. What is it?
It's a draft.
It's a draft league.
Draft league.
I have cared more about people's personal injuries, personal safety, where they are physically in the world and how jet lagged they may be. All this stuff I never once thought about. And you might think like, oh, that's a lot of work or whatever. It's been fascinating to me. Week 1, I will tell you, in our auto pick league, I was auto picked Travis Kelce, which of course, everybody knows who Travis Kelce is this season. And it was interesting because I thought, oh, well, that's fun. And it didn't matter at all. It mattered how the whole team plays. And that's new to me. So anyway, I wanted to tell you that if you got into football because of the GFL, the Galactic Football League that Scott wrote, and you want to learn more, fantasy football might be for you. It's been pretty fun. But this was week 1.
Yep.
And this was week 1 where I know a lot more about the players and a lot more about the league. And we're going to talk about some of the surprises that we saw or didn't see, or you guys saw or didn't see in week 1.
I see you've got points listed here, but we're just going to jump right ahead. I wish I had a clip for this, but I was writing all day. Didn't have time to get a clip together. The Philadelphia Eagles, the defending Super Bowl champion, Philadelphia Eagles, open up the season against their division rival, the Dallas Cowboys. Now, the Eagles versus the Cowboys is one of the storied, hate-filled, goodwill rivalries in the NFL. And that means tempers fly, and these are a lot of young men with a lot of, violent tendencies channel the game, but sometimes things can go awry. This one, Eagles defensive tackle Jalen Carter was ejected from the game before a single play thanks to a spitting incident with Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott. Jalen Carter spit on Dak Prescott right in front of God and the refs and everybody else, was ejected from the game, so he didn't get to play a single snap. He was fined $57,000.
$57,222. I don't know why 222. I saw that
because
after
it divides
fact.
up. Right.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He was fined one pays game, which is $57,000, and he will be able to play in week 2. So he's lucky he didn't get a bigger suspension. The game also had a thunderstorm delay and 0 punts in the first half, which is pretty rare. But the NFL seems like it's going in a high score. Edward Rock in the chat room says Dak
one
spit
game's
first.
pay, yes. Sean.
He says Dak spit first. Edward Rocco, I'm assuming you are an Eagles fan, and I'm going to assume that's also entirely not true. Rob says that's 1/18 of his paycheck. Dr. Campbell says Dak goated him. I'm sensing there's some go birds in the chat room.
Fair enough. But Rob's comment, Rob Otto, co-author of Slay that you just heard, Rob's comment is important. 1/18 of his paycheck. Now, 1/18 of his paycheck is true. That was one game's pay for him. And that was a suspension that they agreed on, or a fine that they agreed on to avoid a week 2 suspension. He did get kicked out of the game so early in week 1 that they were like, cool, this counts as a game suspension because you got kicked out before anything happened. But 1/18 of his paycheck is so interesting because that seems to me $57,222 seems like a lot of money to me, but I don't have a staff. I don't pay trainers, masseuses, cooks, whoever he pays, managers, agents, all that. So I feel like, yes, that's true. It's just 1 week, but it feels like hopefully he learned his lesson in week 1.
If you're listening to this podcast after the fact, we do this live every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. You can join us in the chat room. We can see what you have to say at twitch.tv/Scott Sigler, youtube.com/Scott Sigler, facebook.com/Scott Sigler. And we get comments from the chat room like David Lambs. The Buffalo versus Baltimore game was a spectacular game that is already memorable for this season. What a comeback by the Bills. In short,
absolutely
great game. Both teams did extremely well. They're very powerful offenses, aggressive defenses. You got to watch just some of the best players in football. The Ravens were way ahead in the fourth quarter, and somehow the Bills managed to claw back. That was a fantastic game. That was the last game Sunday night. We got to watch it. It was wonderful and very good.
Yeah, it was spectacular. It's so crazy. That game was so interesting to me because I sort of always look at NFL football week by week, looking at what ESPN or NFL.com kind of gives the odds for. Mm-hmm. And in the Ravens game, it should have ended differently.
Edward Rocco says, originally from Philly, now in Dallas. So I'm assuming Edward Rocco is either not gone out of his house, has gone out of his house and talked a lot of shit, or went out of his house, talked a lot of shit, got knifed, and is in the ER because he's in Dallas now. But if you're a Birds fan, I cannot talk shit to Dallas. The NFL is expanding globally. It is... we're not to the point yet where they're going to buy the CFL, which I think might be a good move for the NFL. But the NFL is a global brand and really working hard to get fans from elsewhere in the world. Because people can, of course, in this time-shifted world, you can watch from anywhere and keep up on anything you want. this
Go ahead.
this year, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, I did want to mention, still talking about the Ravens, I wanted to mention that this game, NFL.com said in the week 1 review that the Ravens lost their own game. And I wanted to ask you about that.
We'll come. Okay. So we're talking about the Ravens. NFL.com said the Ravens lost the game. This is, sports writers got to get paid to do something, right? And there are certain sports writers, loudmouth assholes, when they come on the screen, I just turn the channel. I don't want to listen to these douchebags because they make everything about themselves and they can't hold a candle to the work that these young athletes and their coaching staffs are putting in. The concept of they blew the lead. They pissed away the game.
They beat themselves?
They beat themselves. Yeah. All of those assume that there's not another incredibly talented team full of amazing individuals and coaches who are crunching the numbers through the entire game, changing the game plan, working on ways to get back into it, finding cracks in the armor of the enemy that they didn't know the enemy had until the game started. So when a team comes from behind and beat another team, that is not the team beating. Sometimes a coach can beat themselves with bad clock management, which is a different level of thing, or the coach can be ahead and completely change the style of play and get more conservative, which allows the other team to come back. Mm-hmm. Most of the time, it's just the other team rallied, had a run, and was able to find the points to win the game. It's not that you beat yourself, it's that the other team beat you. So I disagree with that.
And that's the whole reason I wanted to bring it up, because Scott has consistently, since 2009, like I mentioned, when he made me pick a team, he's been so consistently that reporters can be great reporters, but if they're reporters who haven't done the work, haven't actually fielded themselves in college, high school, whatever, they may not be looking at the whole cloth of who a player is. And this is that moment. The Ravens beating themselves is, I think, a misnomer, because they were playing the game that they had to play. And that's why you play the games. That's what I've learned.
That's why you play the games. As Rob says in the chat room, got to get them clicks, son. Being a sports reporter, for the people who really want to make it big, it's all about generating controversy. And last thing I'll say about it, we'll move on, is, as A mentioned, I worked as a sports reporter for several years. There are a lot of people covering sports who've never played a single hour of organized sports. They didn't play college ball, pro ball. A lot of them didn't play high school ball. Yeah. So you have a lot of people who come across as very judgmental and very entitled, who don't understand the work ethic that goes into making it to the pro level, don't understand the genetic luck of the draw that has to combine with the work ethic to go into the pro level, and don't understand the sacrifice athletes make to compete at high level in any sport. So they talk a lot of shit about players, and it drives me crazy. And pros is okay. I mean, if you're making $10 million a year, you can take some shit. It drives me crazy when they do it to the college kids. But
yeah, and that's fair. That's fair.
So
in the chat room on YouTube, Edward Rocco asks, "Hey, who do you cheer for now that you don't cheer for the Jets?" I'm a Lions fan. And I'll tell you why. Because I lived in a Lions house when I got disenchanted with the Jets front office and their choices, and I walked away from the Jets. And then I watched Hard Knocks a couple of years ago, mm-hmm. when the Detroit Lions were the featured team on Hard Knocks. And I got to sort of see how hard everybody goes in the off season. And then I watched Quarterback, which is a Netflix documentary. And I got to see how everybody goes hard in the off season. And I grew a lot more respect for people whose job is their body and prowess, mm-hmm. and performance. And so many people depend on them. Every one of those players. And so I'm a Lions fan. And I'm a happy Lions fan.
Right. We'll finish up moving to the next point. I do want to point out, I will go on record, Lamar Jackson is the best player in football right now. quarterback for the Ravens. Cannot watch that dude enough. Super fun to watch.
I do want to talk about, though, at the end of the Ravens game, Lamar Jackson, when he was walking off the field, there was a Buffalo Bills fan who shoved Lamar Jackson and also, I think, DeAndre Hopkins, kind of shoved them
crazy.
on their head and shoulders as they were walking into the tunnel. And that player, rightfully so, has been banned from every NFL stadium.
That fan.
Yeah, that fan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you said that player. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yep.
That fan has been banned. I will say DeAndre Hopkins and Lamar Jackson were graceful about it. You can watch it. They got shoved. In a way that they didn't deserve. And they've been very graceful about, like, they shoved first and,
Rob said fan shove first.
Oh,
Very
but they
nice.
did. Yeah,
Very
they
nice.
did.
That's
And
playing off the hand shot.
Yeah, no,
okay,
I know.
yeah, okay.
yeah. But I think that walking off the field with your head held high is sportsmanlike behavior.
The price of a ticket does not entitle you to put your hands upon or throw anything at the players. It doesn't even allow you to like curse at them, say racial shit to them. People get crazy with the price of tickets and all the beers and think that they can go talk shit to these gigantic motherfuckers. Lamar Jackson is a big man. DeAndre Hopkins is an even bigger man. And any one of these NFL dudes would murder you to your face in a fair fight. It is not even going to be a contest. These guys are insanely fast, strong, coordinated. And if you want to fight, you'll be dead. But people still put their hands on them.
But I have a question.
Sure.
Don't you think that if Lamar Jackson is at a restaurant and somebody steps to him like that, he just walks away?
He has to.
He has to.
He
and
has
he
to.
does, right? He walked away from that in his home, on a football field. He did the right thing. And, it happens sometimes. You get kind of outsized emotions about whatever, and I get that. But I love that DeAndre Hopkins and Lamar Jackson both responded to that exactly as they should.
And these guys are veterans, but it's really difficult for the rookies and the first, second year guys because, think of a typical 22-year-old male who's big and strong and powerful and aggressive. You have to be an aggressive individual to make it in the NFL. And you're off field, you're at restaurant with your family, your wife, whatever, and somebody comes up and starts pulling shit with you. The NFL has to train these guys, give them classes like, you will not respond. You will walk away. You cannot afford to get into a fracas with these guys for a couple of reasons. Number one, you're in the NFL, you're made of money, you're going to get sued. Number two, if you're a big old black man, get into a fight in some restaurant, that's not a great situation for you to be in if the cops show up. Number three, if these guys hit someone as hard as they can kill a bitch. They're that strong. So the NFL has to train them like, you got to fucking walk away. You got to not engage.
But also, number four, the NFL is training those humans and bodies to be weapons on the field, and they don't want to damage that either.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want. I have spent all this time getting you inches in the air, getting you seconds off your 40-yard dash. All of that. I have done all of that. I have fed you. I have trained you. I have helped every medical need you have.
I told you. I prepared you.
Device for my success and your success, and you shouldn't do that either.
I told you what to expect.
Exactly.
She's absolutely right. And the franchises too, like you do not get in a fight outside of do not get in a fight ever. We pay you, $57,222 a game. If you get stabbed with a fork in the cheek and get a MRSA infection and can't play against the Washington football team, you have fucked your teammates and your roommates. So there's many reasons. So, oops, sorry, I got quick bapping. Let me move that a little bit.
Yeah, let me move this for you. Can we talk about weather delays?
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about going back to the international line I was taking. The NFL now plays a bunch of games in other countries. They've done it in Mexico City a lot. They have done it. They just did it in Brazil. What city was it in Brazil?
Sao Paulo?
Sao Paulo, Brazil. And that was the Los Angeles Chargers fighting up against the Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, the Swifties team. And the Chargers finally came out on top, beat the Chiefs in Brazil. And it was Jim Harbaugh's second year as head coach at the Chargers. And hoping for big things for the Chargers, even though they have left San Diego and we can't go see them because they're in LA, and that's a whole travel thing. But Brazil was pumped. The place was packed. When the NFL teams travel around the globe and play, usually it's a sold out stadium, and you look at the stadium, and it's a bunch of foreigners. There's like 1%, 2%, 3% Americans who make that trip. It's a bunch of foreigners, and they're all decked out in NFL gear. The fun thing about watching foreign, non-U.S. NFL game is two things. Number one, the amount of different team gear in the stands. In America, Cowboys play the Eagles. You're pretty much going to see Eagles gear with some Cowboys gear.
Oh, that's a good point.
Right?
Yeah.
And when you're in London or anywhere else, it's all the teams except for the Jacksonville Jaguars. For some reason, probably because they play in London all the time, are like London's home team. And when they go there, there's a bunch of Brits all decked out in Jags gear. Chris Grell says, where's Brazil?
So before we do that, I want to say it is time for a quick break. When we come back, I would like to talk to you about NFL players playing in foreign markets and see what you think about that as a long-term NFL fan. If you guys can stick around and listen to any ads that pop up, there's only one or two, and that really, really helps the show. And we'll be back right after this.
Okay. And do you have a next question lined up?
I do. Give me just a second.
My God. Rob, we're not going to talk about this. We're not going to put this one out on the podcast. Rob says that game in Brazil must have been like ripping out pubic hair for the Chiefs fans. That's a deep cut. That's a Brazilian wax football joke.
He just double deep cutted.
Way to go, Rob.
Well, you just said it's a Brazilian.
That's his joke.
Yeah.
That's not my joke. That's his joke.
Okay, yeah.
I'm impressed, Rob Otto, and I don't impress easily. All right, here we go. Is there a question here you got lined up for me?
So we're going to come back to, we are back from deep cuts.
Okay, I'll let you run from there.
I'm gonna ask you the question again after we do this deep cuts and this episode, okay?
Jack Ford says deep in the crease. Yeah, okay.
Ready?
You guys ready? Yep.
Okay.
Welcome back to Deep Cuts.
This episode, we're talking about NFL football and the 2025 season. I wanted to come back and ask you, as a NFL football fan for your entire life, you haven't always had international games as part of regular season play. How do you feel about it? How does it? Do you like the spreading of NFL? Do you hate that timing is weird?
I love it. I think it's a fantastic product. While I have a lot of nits about the NFL and wish they would take better care of their players and have more long-term, lifetime health care for their players, overall, I love the game of football. The game of football is absolutely spectacular. It is the most complicated human thing next to war. And I enjoy the fact that the NFL has done a great job, particularly Latin America, encouraging the Latino community in America and in catering to women viewers, like really like, hey, come on, it's a big tent. Come on in and hang out. And the NFL has been very smart. Because the NFL is very smart about many things. One thing in particular, everybody got money. We want to get everybody money. They want to get everybody's money. Don't care if you got boobs, no boobs. Don't care if you're American, Asian, Latino. They don't give a shit. Like, we're going to put this great thing on the field. We want to embrace, we want to bring you in and take your money and make you happy for spending your money. So the NFL playing in Europe. The European Football League was a great thing while it lasted. Playing in South America, Central America, and hopefully getting around to other places in the world. I think it's wonderful. For the main reason, I hope all the foreigners pick a team, fall in love with their team, and get the crushing heartbreak of following a team for 50 fucking years and having very few playoff wins, no Super Bowl. Sorry.
I will say, San Diego had an XFL football league called the San Diego Fleet for the 2 seasons.
No, that wasn't the XFL. That was shit. There was the XFL and 2 other leagues were going at the same time. But the
whichever
Fleet. Go
it
ahead.
was,
The
we
Fleet,
had the San Diego Fleet which was arena football.
No,
for
Fleet was full football. We went to a full field football game
at Jack Murphy.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
It was the Storm. There is a San Diego Arena Football League team we haven't been to yet. Go ahead.
But the San Diego Fleet, that league doesn't exist anymore, but those games were wildly fun because that was not the NFL level, which of course is very curated,
the AAF.
and
Yep.
AAF, was the NFL is wildly curated, absolute top tier A-list athletes, even coming out of high school and college, still the top of their game. And the AAF, the Alliance of American Football, which the San Diego Fleet was part of, we were members for the one season that they were here. And it was really fun because you got to actually see gameplay and you got to see strategy and you got to see it on the field in real time, because my brain works so much slower than NFL players' brains work when they're on the field, kind of thing.
Yeah,
So-
that was great. All right, what else we got
I
here for the
would
NFL
like-
opening season 1?
I want
Week
to
1.
ask you
Shoot.
about, now that the Harbaugh brothers are both NFL coaches, I want
right.
to ask you about those two things because they both had big weekends.
Yep.
Jim Harbaugh last season, joined the LA Chargers. And
Yep.
this season seems to have dominated one of the winningest teams in football in their first week game. I understand poorly that week 1 doesn't mean everything. And I would like you to talk about that if you can.
We're talking about week 1 doesn't mean everything?
Yeah, in the
Okay.
NFL, I've read a lot of that the NFL, the week 1 is hard because your preseason, you don't play your actual players, and then you got to kludge into the field or something?
Yeah, if you lose week 1, your season is by no means over. However, if you lose your first 2 games, 9% of teams that lose their first 2 games make the playoffs. Only 9%. So it's like something, I saw that stat this morning, like 220-ish teams have lost their first 2 games since 2000. And only 20 of those have wound up making the playoffs. So if you lose your first 2 games, it's very difficult to dig out of that. Probably because you're not very good is the reason you'll make the playoffs. That's why you lost your first 2 games, because the other teams are just better than you. But week one is a crazy thing because you don't know exactly what you're getting, because everybody in the preseason holds their cards close to their vest. They're not playing their starters very much. They're not showing you new plays. They're not showing you new defensive formations. So you really don't know. You don't know what you're getting. Like the Lions played the Packers in week 1, and the Packers beat them pretty handily. And the Packers are doing a lot of defensive line stuff and stunts and blitzes that the Lions simply were not prepared for. And the Packers did some things in the run game, which Detroit was very strong at last year, and just shut down the run game. So what they say is, in week 1, you've got a whole last season's of film to watch. So teams that did really good, say in 24, when you come in at 25, the other team has a lot of stuff to watch on how you did what you did so well to be that good, and they can target that. So week 1 is very important, is by no means critical. Nobody's season is over. You can even watch teams like go 1-3 and still come back and do really well. Doesn't help to start out with a goose egg, but it's not the end of the world. However, this week 2, for all the teams that lost week 1, this coming week 2, very important. Very important.
I have a question.
Yes.
I would like to know, as a new fan of the league, and I say that having watched for 15 years, but I'm still sort of I'm learning every year still. So I want to ask you, who has been a fan your entire life, this year you were more invested in the preseason than I have seen you. And I don't mean to say invested. I mean to say more interested, more whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to know if you think that having the preseason not field their first string and all that stuff, how that feels for you. Do you think they should? Do you think that's the right answer?
I will answer that in 1 second. First, a question from the chat room. The chat room, David Lamb says, Scott, do you believe any of the conspiracy theories by fans that the NFL does fix some games? I don't, but appreciate your vast experience and knowledge. Well, thank you, sir. I don't put a lot of credence to the game fixing concept by the league itself. I do think in the past There's absolutely been an era where the NFL wanted certain teams to get in the playoffs, win the playoffs, maybe win the Super Bowl, maybe not. Certain franchise were financial juggernauts and others simply couldn't hold a candle to balance. And I do think there was significant favoritism showed. However, the bias can creep in many forms. Last year, the NFL fired, was it 3 referees?
Well, they fired 6 altogether.
So they fired 6 referees, 3 of whom, when they went back and analyzed film, they statistically proved these guys had a bias towards calling favorably for the Kansas City Chiefs. And if you've been a fan of football for the last 6 years and you're not a Chiefs fan, you tend to see some stuff where you're like, dude, every 3rd and long they get stopped on, all of a sudden there's a penalty. Now they're back in it. Now they come back and win the game. It was frustrating to watch. Do I think that is a league-wide conspiracy? I do not. If there was a league-wide conspiracy, the Los Angeles teams and the New York teams would win every year. Sounds a lot like baseball, if you ask me, because those are the major markets. That's where most of the money is at. Kansas City is not the market the NFL would want to put money behind if you want to fix games. It just doesn't make any sense. So there is bias. I know people have been arrested, prosecuted for fixing games, point shaving. These things do happen, but by and large, the NFL is a collective. You have 32 franchise owners, all of whom meet on a regular basis, communicate on a regular basis, and the commissioner's job is to make sure every one of those teams has an equal shot at winning, because if there's parity, you get more money out of more cities, more money out of more people. That's the way it is. They've figured out it works. So I don't think there's fixing at all.
Yeah, and I agree. I think more is more is more. So often you see not league-wide, but smaller schemes. Didn't say scam, said schemes, to maybe curry favor. I think the Patriots have done that. I think we have seen that. The Saints have done that. It goes poorly. It doesn't actually sustain itself league-wide, because league-wide it can't. You can't favor Curry with one team because they have legions of fans, right? So you can do a small scheme thing. We've seen it 100,000 times in the NFL. We're seeing it right now with the Clippers in basketball. We're seeing it happen where not the whole league, but individuals try to influence an individual team. But I kind of love that it sort of all comes out in the wash.
Now, the NFL has made some strides in this with the replay, the video replay. They're trying to achieve actual fairness. So if a ref blows a call, there's now a moderate system in place for head coaches to challenge that call, and people will look at it. In the last 2 minutes, the New York office can call into any game and say, stop the game. We're going to take a look at that call. We don't think that call was right. That is done in the interest of absolute fairness, because everything is viewable by the audience. When NBC is showing a replay and everyone who knows their ass from a biscuit can see that pass was dropped, but they give them the touchdown anyway, that's bad product. It's bad for you don't want your fans to go like, why would I watch this shit? You guys don't get it right, and clearly this is fixed. That's less money for the NFL, and the NFL is about more money. So I don't think that out. What was the question you were asking me before I dropped out?
I'll think of that in a second, but I want to say this. I think what he just said is so important. If the NFL has to make a good product that will sell to most of its viewers. And that being said, that is cream rising to the top. Like, they cannot force a thing, I don't believe, because we'll know it. We'll be like, that was bullshit. Yeah, I completely forgot. Like,
I did too. I wanted to answer that really quick, but you asked a very thorough question. I want to get to it.
I did.
But we got
what I was going to ask is this. As a person who has been an NFL fan for your entire life, how do you I lost the question I was going to ask, but I'll ask this. How do you feel about the NFL as a product today? And I mean that specifically for the purposes of our podcast, sort of asking new players how we feel Now it's a pop star is a big fan of the NFL. How does that work? How does the NFL in pop culture work for you now as a lifelong player?
I think the
Or
NFL,
lifelong fan.
the
sorry.
NFL is doing frankly, they're doing a great job. They're doing a great job. There was a thing called NFL Films many years ago, and this, like pre-cable, maybe, definitely pre-internet, where the NFL would do these human interest stories about different players, and usually the stars, but not always. And they would bring in full crews, full producers. They would edit it. It was great, great stuff. And the idea was the NFL doesn't want you to just look at these guys in silly costumes on a field. They want you to see the real people in those costumes, because when you identify with a performer, you spend more money on that performer, right? So they've been at this for 30, 40 years, maybe even longer, done a great job. As time has progressed, they're getting sharper at their job. They're more proficient at social media. They're what was the show we watched with the Lions?
Hard Knocks.
Hard Knocks lets you get a view of a whole team working its way up into the series, working its way up into the season. And you get to see, the reason A's a Lions fan is she got to see they drill down on certain stars who percolate up, certain rookies who percolate up, and like, that dude looks good on camera. That dude's engaging. Amon-Ra St. Brown was one of them. Getting to watch Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jared Goff, and some of the rookies coming in, some of who didn't even make the team, it's drama. The NFL is very good now at accentuating positive off-field drama. They want you to root for a kid even if the kid doesn't make it. If the kid does make it, they want you to root for that kid. They want you to buy the jerseys and buy all the other stuff. They're doing a great job. The parity level is better than I've seen in certain sports like baseball, which I don't follow very closely, but I understand you can pay a luxury tax and then fuck the salary cap, doesn't matter. We're just going to spend more money.
Sure.
In the NFL, that does not happen. It is flat across the board. Everybody's dealing with exactly the same stuff. I think that is a good move on the NFL's part. Overall, the product is great. I watch during the regular season. I probably watch anywhere from 11 to 13 games a week, either intentionally or in passing. And I cannot get enough of it. It's great. The sportscasters are great. The stadiums are great. The TV coverage is fantastic. They're really doing an excellent job across the board. The only dings I have in the NFL is, even though they're improving, they're not taking proper care of their rank and file workers. It's a violent sport. People get hurt, and they're not doing a good enough job at taking care of their people.
This is so interesting because I wanted to bring up, we have experience with our nephew having spent a small amount of time in the NFL structure. And he played for he fielded with the Arizona Cardinals in 2019. And he went through their training camp. He went through their preseason training, and he went through their preseason. And he got cut in the last game.
Last cut. He got the last cut. He got cut.
But we learned an entire whole lot about how the NFL takes care of their very young, very new, just out of high school, just out of college players.
Mm-hmm.
They have every week, they have 2-a-days physically, right? They do weight training in the morning and practice in the afternoons, but they have nutrition classes, they have financial classes, they have management they have so many things that they do off field to train them to manage their life as an NFL player that I was thrilled to know that they do. The NFL says, here is how you manage your income. Here's how you manage your nutrition. Here's how you manage your whatever staff you have to hire to manage this life you have. And I love that.
Now, the nutrition makes for a better product on the field.
Yeah.
Okay? That's self-serving by the NFL. Also beneficial to the athlete. But they're like, we want you on the field. We don't want you injured. We want you out there making money for us. The financial wherewithal, legal training, conflict avoidance training, these are things that some of these things are, in the old days, the NFL would be like, come on, son, I'm going to sign you to a big check. You're going to be a star. And that kid blows out his Achilles. Like, get out of the locker room, son. We don't care, but we just make room for the next kid. They understand, the NFL understands they're taking a lot of shit for paying kids a bunch of money, paying a 19-year-old a bunch of money, and then he's out of work by 21 and he's broke by 22. They get that's a very bad look. They're trying to teach kids, like, your career could be over tomorrow in practice. Here's what you need to do with your money so that you and your family have the best shot at financial success moving forward. And trying to teach kids, like, don't listen to your buddy from high school. Get with a financial manager. Those things are pro player. So, like, we learned that from Tyler.
Yep.
That they are in there teaching you, like, they're trying to teach kids, don't blow it all in a gold chain, bud. Don't go buy a crazy car. Put that shit in the bank, compound interest. So the NFL is trying to teach young men to be responsible with the money they have so those young men can have the best possible life in case they do get hurt. So I think that's part of the overall product of the NFL. So they've made rule changes to improve the player health. The targeting. Mm-hmm. When you watch the NFL in the 70s, bro, that's a different game. That is a gladiatorial sport in which you're probably going to die.
And then you think, like, at least for me, because I'm a new NFL fan, mm-hmm. right? So for me, the first player who almost died on the field for me is Damar Hamlin. A Buffalo Bill, 2-3 years ago, got a very specific hit that stopped his heart. He's fine. He's back in the league. It's all good. However, that's the first time I've ever seen that. But that is not the first time Scott has ever seen someone almost die on the field or die from injuries on the field.
First one I remember vividly was Mike Utley for the Detroit Lions, who broke his neck in a game. I believe it was against the Jets. Mark Gastineau was the player. And they stop the game. Everybody comes out and they roll him off on a backboard, and he never walked again. Nobody wants that. That's not, this is, the NFL has understood that gladiator blood sport is not the product they want to go out across the world and take everybody's happy money. We're going to call that's a new phrase. Happy money is the money that when you spend it on a thing, for example, a certain devilishly handsome author who has a penchant for cursing, you spend that money on this guy, you're happy to spend that money. You don't like, God, I should have never spent that money. The money I spend in the NFL, for the most part, I'm pretty happy I spent that money. So if you want to take people's happy money, you don't want every other week the game to stop because some dude broke his neck and will be paralyzed for the rest of his life. That's not good for business. The NFL is trying to do some things to make people, give people a better chance at a long, healthy life once they get out of the league. There's a lot more shit they could do. Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely. On Twitch, Chang Bang Agumo says Lawrence Taylor's leg breaking was a sight to see. Good thing he was medicated, so he probably didn't feel much. I will say this.
No, Lawrence Taylor broke the leg of the Redskins quarterback.
I'm just reading what he said.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I'll say this. That and also Testaverde's thigh break on the Dolphins. These are horrible things that are terrible physical tragedies. And I like that we sort of respond to them in exactly how it should be. Nobody should have their life ruined by
yes,
just a job, just a showing up. I was about to say just a game, and I don't mean a game. I mean that's their job, but their job is a game. Nobody should have their life ruined by showing up to their job ever.
It's a two-sided coin. It's absolutely a game. The vast majority of NFL players realize they have this privileged position because they have worked their fucking asses off their entire life since they were probably in the 6th grade and started to percolate up as a bigger, faster, stronger person. They understand it's a game. It's also absolutely a job. It's a calling. They also understand it is a violent job with almost no career protection. What's the word I'm looking for? No built-in security. No built-in security. Your career can be over in a minute. For example, Joe Theismann, the quarterback of the Redskins, who Lawrence Taylor broke his leg. Thank you to everybody in the chat room for filling in for my spotty old-ass memory.
I feel
Joe
the same way about Theismann
was
as I
on
feel-
top of the world, Super Bowl winning quarterback. He got his fucking leg tacked up, and he was done. That was it. You're out.
I feel the same way about Theismann as I feel about Testaverde. Like it's like, what? They were just showing up for work. Right?
Yes. So that the NFL players understand they get to play the game they love for a living. They totally understand that. They also understand this is a career that might not last very long. So yes, they're playing a game. It's also a job. We miss anything? All right, I think that's gonna do it. We're gonna go back. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna watch film. We're gonna watch the replay. In the replay, we're gonna figure out that great question you asked that you served up perfectly, and I got distracted by the chat room. You know what?
I think it might have been
You know
about
what?
the weather.
You know what? I lost that game for us. It was on me.
We're
you know
a
what?
team. We're a team. We win or we lose together. That is it for this episode of Deep Cuts.
Next episode of Deep Cuts, we're going to be talking about season 1 of Alien Earth. So if you are listening to this in time to join us for the live stream, Wednesday, 6 p.m., 9 p.m., Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern at twitch.com/Scott Sigler, youtube.com/Scott Sigler, facebook.com/Scott Sigler. You can join us in the chat room and geek out all about it. We're going to watch that.
If you guys have any ideas for what you'd like us to talk about on Deep Cuts, please email us at info@mtset.
Yeah.
And until the next time.
Do the till the next time. You got me mid-sip. I'm so sorry.
Until the next time.
You all smell an awful lot like Joe Theismann's broken leg in 2 places flowers.
Oh, dear. Hang out with us, you guys.
Oh, that was a fun episode.
It was.
Yeah, it was really fun.
It was really fun.
Colin, hey Colin, nice to see you guys live. Hall, say hi to my junkie buddies. I don't think
Hey,
have I seen
Colin.
Colin here before? I don't think so. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Well, Colin, welcome. Good night, everybody. You guys are great.
Yeah.
That was a fun episode.
Listen, Brian, the Theismann footage is brutal.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Yeah, Aiden Hutchinson's footage. They did a good
Dude,
job.
we love you too.
They tamped down
And your
Aiden
girl.
Hutchinson footage. I haven't actually seen it. I don't want to see it. So
Yeah. It's terrible.
it was a rough day in America again today. It's a dicey place. We're very grateful we get to come hang out with all y'all every Wednesday and do all this good business. And that's about it. I'm very pumped for this week of football. I've gone on record. I'm going on record again. I will say this. Everybody's like, Lions Super Bowl. I'm like, bro, Lions are going to go 9-8. Get a wild card, win a playoff game. We'll see what happens from there. Lions are not going to fucking win 12 games again this year.
Not
And
this year.
week one proved it out because now the Packers are, I predicted, before the season, Jordan Love is the real deal. The Packers are going to win the division. Right now, the Vikings think they're going to win the division. The wheels are going
Jalen
to.
Hurts is a real deal too.
That's not the division.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, still a real deal too.
Yes.
Is that the
Jalen
matchup,
Hurts is
maybe?
a fucking super. No.
Okay.
No, they're both NFC, so they can't be in the
Oh,
Super Bowl.
you're right. You're right. Sorry.
Jalen Hurts is without a doubt the real deal. He's got a ring, should have had 2. He's on a completely different level. Jalen Hurts, but Jordan Love, great quarterback. Packers, absolutely going to win the division this year. Vikings think they're going to win it. Wheels are going to come off in about 6-7 weeks. J.J. McCarthy's probably going to be a very good quarterback, but he's young. He's got some growing pains to go through. It's going to be a very rough year for Jared Goff. Because part of why Jared Goff's an excellent quarterback, part of why he flourished last year is because he had an offensive line, the best offensive line in the NFL.
Which he doesn't have.
He does not have that right now.
Anymore.
We lost 2 plears. 2 of the players we have left did not play well. This week.
Brian Leach, how dare you?
So
3? How
Brian
dare
Leach, the Lions will definitely win more than 3
How dare
games. 3 games. Brian Leach.
you? Oh, he does say no more than 5. Also, how dare you again?
Sorry, Brian Leach's already burning in hell. I told before the show even started. He's burning in
Why?
hell. Yeah, sorry, man. I can't.
Why?
He's a fucking Packers fan. Fuck him.
Oh, now I understand. Listen, Brian, I hope we both have a better season than we expect.
Oren, how you doing? Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Oren's run a little bit. He's running on.
Ah, so
He's
to
running
see
on
you.
Oren time, is all we're going to say. So say hi to Oren in the chat room. And Oren, maybe, you never know. You never know. People's schedules are crazy. It's hard to get here for the show, but glad to see you. But that's my,
So,
yes.
Can we tell these folks who we're no longer recording
Yep.
and they're still here the thing you did today?
No.
Okay.
I should have told you not to talk about that beforehand. I should have known. I should have known.
We had a tiny milestone today.
All right. So
but it's a nice thing.
Chris Grawl says the Lions lost too many coaches. Losing Ben Johnson's the offensive coordinator, that's a big deal.
And
Aaron Glenn, I don't think Aaron Glenn, defensive coordinator, is as big of a deal. Lions defense was hasn't been very good through the entire Aaron Glenn era. It's not necessarily on Aaron Glenn. We had a lot of injuries and a lot. We didn't necessarily have the personnel. We spent a lot of money on our offense, not as much on defense. So we don't know that that's him, but losing him was not that big of a deal.
I also don't mind that Aaron Glenn is not having a great season.
Well, okay. All right. We're going to hang up. We're going to hang up the phone and, let me try this real quick. I think we're going to go to this because I got some Showtime stuff I want to talk to you about. Let's go ahead and go to main and then here. Nope. What the fuck? I got to figure this out, babe. I don't know why it's doing that. Elgato, right, Elgato. Are you looking at this one?
Nope. Just because nobody's looking at the one that is actually live, so I'm looking at the other one.
There we
go.
Okay, we'll get that figured out. But that is it for us for tonight. We hope you guys
Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us.
Hope you guys all have a great night. Thank you for hanging out with us. We will be back next week and we'll be talking about Aliens Earth. It's going to be super fun. No matter what bullshit is going down in the world, you come here, we're going to talk about fun stuff. That's what we do.
We love you.
You're great. And that is it for us.
Hang out with you.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Wait, I'm good, man. See, I got that footer. I got to get there. Goodbye.